everybody, welcome back to Around the Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across the UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today, I have the privilege of being joined by Ann Marie McQueen. Hello, Ann Marie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining the show today. I'm super excited to talk to you all about your company, Hotflash Inc. Please tell me your story and why you decided to create this company.
Well, okay, I'm a journalist and I'm 54 years old. I've been in this field for almost 30 years, a little bit less than half of it in Canada. And then I moved to the Emirates to help launch the national newspaper. And I've spent a lot of time covering health and wellness and science. And I've just been really interested in that stuff. Always a bit holistic. I lost my mom when I was 27 and she was 53, the age I just was, which was weird. And she had a lot of health problems, and then she had pancreatic cancer. And I didn't realize that at the time, but over time, I've realized that I was on a sort of a search for what happened with her and how maybe I could avoid it, you know? So I was the arts and life editor at the National, and I did a lot of health stuff. And during that time, it was a really high stress job. I was in my 40s and I was having a super hard time, but I just thought I was going crazy, or perhaps I was dying. Like, it started with big sleep problems, nightmares, panic attacks, anxiety. And then, it was just sort of years. This was like my early 40s until I was about 47. Like, I would have chest pain and weird feelings in my head and strange thoughts. And I was going to see lots of doctors. No one ever said anything about my hormones. And then at 47, I skipped a period. So I realized I was in perimenopause, which to me was something, I don't know. I didn't even know about perimenopause, to be honest. Like, a lot of women my age didn't know. I think I just thought I was going to go through menopause when I was 60 or something, and everything. I deal with it later. So because I'm like so obsessed with content, I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn all about this then. I'm just going to do it the way I've done everything else. I'm going to learn about it and make this an experience that I experience, and I come out of stronger and better. The more I started to get the content back that I was looking at, the more I just didn't like it. Like, I'm a person who just loves casting a wide net, looking at all the options. I felt that no one was writing about this from a place of depth. It was the content was very one-sided. It was often used just to sell products, or it was just like embedded with SEO words, but didn't really mean anything. And I just started to think, like, this is a really big transition. And I think I could do such a good job covering it. And I just see this space, and I could see it was gathering steam. Like, this was around 2017, but it's completely blown open. And so I feel that's one of the things I've done as a journalist, is spot trends. And I just felt like certain that this was going to blow open. And I knew that in 2025, 1.1 billion women around the world would be going through menopause, which is more than there's ever been. And, it's so funny because everyone thinks, like, when they're going through something, that it's the only thing that matters. But look, I'm a person who's had a platform for a long time, and I just decided to make this my beat, basically. And I didn't know how. I've interviewed entrepreneurs, but I never considered myself one. So I just started with a newsletter. I kind of modeled it after Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, really, because I figured if she just grew something out of that, if I just start it, I'll figure the rest out later.
I love it. I love the fact that it was something that started off as a passion, or like something that was personal to you, and that would affect you as well, like from a human perspective, right? Not just like work wise, but as a human, this is what you're going through. And you just taught me a new word. Like, I don't think anybody has ever heard the word of perimenopause before. So it's really interesting that you're bringing that up and raising awareness for something that people may not know. Like, this is what your symptoms are. This explains what you're going through. Now, obviously, being a first-time entrepreneur and doing something that is a bit different from your kind of journalism experience, what would you say has been your biggest challenge in creating this company, and how have you overcome it?
So my biggest challenge is kind of twofold. Monetizing, obviously, because people, and then seeing myself as someone who would be a person who had their own business that was monetized. Like, in the beginning, I'd say I'm not a business person, I'm a journalist, and I've learned to stop saying that. But it's a huge, huge learning curve, because a lot of people go into business and they have such a they're business people. They have such a clear idea of what's going to make money. And the way I went into it was, I feel there's a need. I have a passion. I have a mission. And when I would talk to people in business, like friends of friends' husbands, and they would just ask me questions, and I would get so intimidated because they didn't sort of see immediately the business model. And I didn't see immediately the business model, but I felt so sure that it was something I should be doing that I knew I would figure it out. And I was willing to be like, making money was not important to me, but it's become more important to me over time because I've realized that this is just an expensive hobby if I'm not making money. And then I can't actually put my full energy into it if I'm not making money. So the more it grows, the more I can help it grow and make it better and help more people. So it's like a circle. But it continues to be a challenge, Sarah, honestly, because in the beginning, when I would try to talk to business people about it, they would say, well, what are you selling? You have a newsletter. What are you selling with your newsletter? Because back then, even just 4 years ago, people thought about newsletters as marketing tools to sell something. No one was thinking of, and I would say, well, I'm just going to have like, the content is what I'm selling. And no one, it was breaking everyone's brain sort of everyone was like, that's not good enough. And it was very, very discouraging, but I felt certain that I could make content my product because all around me, I could see other journalists leaving mainstream journalism and setting up as independent journalists. And I just was patient. Like I was like, okay, I'm not pouring a ton of capital into this. I'm building it from the ground up. So I'm okay. This is a long-term thing. And over time, what's happened is that content has become a product. And there's actually a book that I read earlier this year called Content Inc. by Joe Paluzzi. And I cried when I read it because A, it was ink, like Hotflash ink. And B, he was saying people who, like all around me in the world, people were doing the same thing I was, but I didn't know it. So to see it all validated in a book where he was like, people who do marketing give terrible advice to people who sell their content. It's just like the wrong place to go for advice. So now I'm in the process of getting that all organized and figuring out what my revenue streams are and then cementing them and going after them. I have been, my dad liked to say that I was a bit like Ichabod Crane, who's some character, I guess, that went running off in his horse on all directions. But my biggest challenge has been sorting that out. And now I'm making money. I have subscriptions, I have sponsorships, and I'm doing affiliate marketing. Those would be the three things that I focus on. And then I just build those out. Like I feel more confident talking to you about this. If you'd asked me that question the last year, I would have had like way more imposter syndrome.
I love the fact that you're so relatable. Like the fact that you're using words like imposter syndrome and something validated your feelings, and that you didn't, like, you interviewed all these entrepreneurs before, but you didn't think you were one. Like that is so true. People don't think that they have the potential that they do unless they take that first step. And it really is just the experience and going along the ride and seeing how things go. Like whether it's advice from your husbands or your friends, husbands or brothers, sisters, cousins, three times removed, it's not until you hear their advice and like hear the way that they talk to you that you're like, oh wait, maybe there is, potential in this. And having said that, I feel like there are a lot of different experiences that you went through in order to kind of be in the more confident position that you are today. Is there something that you feel like really helped you kind of like cement your position and really something that people could learn from?
Well, yes, it's actually going through menopause. This is a major, beautiful, awesome life transition. It takes a long time, and I get emotional talking about it because I'm just on the other side of it. But you sort of become the person that you always dreamed of being, and I'm still working through it now, but all that all that importance you placed on the external validation and how many times you abandon yourself, this is the, like, sure, there's physical symptoms. Yes, we have to deal with those. But this like spiritual, psychological evolution is nothing short of like, I'm stunned by it. And so when that has helped me, like that shift it's so funny because I've been building this while I've been going through the quickening ends of menopause into life after it. And to me, it's just like a beautiful, I could talk about it forever. Like I could just talk about it forever. And I want every woman to know it. Like, please don't be scared. You come into yourself and I'm shocking myself all over the place. So it's a great thing.
I love that. I love that you're embracing it in such a beautiful way, that you're not scared by it. And you obviously like are the expert on it. You're going through it, you've gone through it. So you would know if there's something that's like really worrisome. But the fact that you're able to see it in such a positive way and see that it's a part of life and part of the journey of just being human and being a woman, like that in itself is just so inspirational. And I'm curious, what is something that you want people to know about menopause, whether it's a man or a woman, just to have that understanding of menopause?
I would like people to know how powerful it is. And I would like people to know that I think it's a bit scary for society to have women feel actually fearless and to have women feel actually confident and comfortable with themselves. And not to get political or anything, but I think we're a lot um, more comforting to people when we're in a position where we're, really nurturing and when we're in our lane. Like after we go through menopause, we're kind of out of our lane and we have so much more to give. We have so much knowledge, wisdom, caring to pass on to other people. I just want people to know that this is our time, because what a lot of people do is look at this as it'll be over and you're scared of it. And I know I was at 40. I was scared of women who were my age because I thought I don't want to be that age. And I want people to know it's a new beginning. Like I couldn't be more fired up and excited about life. And I constantly remind myself of when I was 30 and I couldn't sleep almost because I had so many ideas and so many plans. And I just don't think people take that into consideration. It's waiting for you.
I love that. It's such a beautiful and inspiring and just honest way of looking at it. Like you're not sugarcoating anything. You're truly speaking from the heart. You're truly speaking from the love that you've come to grow for menopause. And it's such a wonderful thing to see you speak this way. And I'm just wondering, do you have any final words of advice or a last message you want to leave with the listeners today?
Well, I feel like whatever you get an idea to do, and I've been reading about this lately, that just that's enough of a reason. Obviously, if it's a criminal activity, then don't do it. But when you just feel that, like, I want to do this, like, and you get fired up, and we all have those ideas, and then the next day we don't want to do them. If it's something that stays and sticks with you and fires you up, and you're like boring your friends talking about it, and you're boring your family members talking about it, I just think just start, because no, like, you can wait until it's absolutely perfect. But if you start, I think that's a pure message from somewhere of what you're supposed to be doing. And when it feels that right, I'm not saying it'll be easy. There'll be times you'll be tired. There'll be times you want to quit, but that's a path to follow. And it's as simple. That's just a nudge from the universe. That's what I believe.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that really strong and impactful word of advice and for sharing your beautiful journey, for being so candid with me and just raising awareness for something that we should talk more about as a society and just educating people in such a wonderful way.
Thank you for talking about it. I mean, you're so young. I don't even know. You look like you're in your, I don't know. You could be a teenager,
I
but
appreciate
it's
that.
great.
That's just good skincare. I know I'm 30, but
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
That's no, it's like really refreshing. And I get so excited when people who are younger want to talk about this. I've been on a couple of podcasts lately from people who are 30, and I just think how cool. You guys are so cool. Like it's going to be a lot different for you.
I'm now much more excited for the journey that I was before this interview, so I'm grateful for you for that at least.
Okay, good. Well, you got a while yet. You got a ways to go.
Like, cool. Thank you so much for your time, Anne Marie, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.